Hello, everybody. It's my privilege to introduce to you, all the way from the south side of Chicago, the man, the myth, the legend, my Theo, your brother, the South Side Unicorn.
Look at their budget. Romney wants to he said the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
It's Saturday and it's raining outside. I see out there. I hope you have some full of information. Just stand by. Hey, gonna pick up a little bit from Friday because it's day number 2 of Homegirl calling our president an MF and still waiting on something to happen. So we'll be touching base on that. We'll also be talking about the chair of the California Republican Party. Got a little information on that, so we're going to kick that around a little bit. And basically, it's California Republicans, is it Uhaul or not Uhaul? That is the question. And that's what we'll be discussing on the Southside Unicorn Show today. And some of the Facebook input from some of my friends. So let's get ready, ladies and gentlemen, to get down. Yeah, everybody, I always like to do continuations sometimes from other shows because guess what? It's my show, and I can do that. Just wanted to mention about yesterday, everybody's touched on it. My good friend Larry Elder, Mo Kelly, a lot of other luminaries in the game, they've all mentioned it. We all are going to mention these news topics, and we're going to touch them in our own different ways. I'm just waiting on equity, people. I'm just waiting on equity. I'm going to do it like this or that, and that way we can go into the other parts of the show. But this young lady, she just got elected into office. I always mispronounce her name, and to be honest, I really don't care. Tashaida Taib, the Palestinian who became a U.S. congressperson, woman, whatever. Well, her second day in office after becoming one of our great public officials, she called her president an MF, man. I mean, she really did that. And that ratcheted it up a whole notch, from Joe Wilson 8 years ago when all he said was that, Obama was lying. Well, after 8 years, we realized he really was lying. So Joe Wilson wasn't lying. Okay? But they wrote this man, they told him a new butt based on what he said. So I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with Taisha, or whatever, the new congresswoman, because I'm going to go ahead and let your ears be the judge, okay? This is going to be the replay of Joe Wilson and a news tracking from what happened to him when he said that Obama lied, okay? And then after that, I'm going to play the attitude of Nasty Pelosi and everybody regarding Taisha and her calling the president an MF. I mean, I just want you to see the inequity here, and hopefully it'll spur something in you to start making sure that we don't let these people get away with this, because the hypocrisy of the leftist Democrat Party is staggering. I mean, from where I'm from, the south side of Chicago, now I'm living in California, of course, but I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. What the Democrat and leftists are doing to us, they punking us, man. They straight punking us because they'll do whatever they want to do. And then when it happens on their side, they just look at you and go, huh. Your mom, my mom, they could punk us. When we were kids, we got punked by our mamas all the time. If I did something wrong, you're going to get handled. I could even do something that maybe my mom was doing. And the word back would be, don't do what I do what I say. But see, that's my mama talking to me, and she can do that. And the leftists and Democrats, you ain't my mama. So you're not going to come at me with that. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and run it for you, and you can get a good feel on why this really should be important to all of us. This is going to be the news release of Joe Wilson calling Obama a liar.
Congressman Joe Wilson was officially reprimanded yesterday by his fellow lawmakers for calling President Obama a liar. Nancy Cordes reports.
None of us is happy to be here.
This was a first for Congress, an hour-long debate over a two-word accusation hurled by South Carolina Republican Joe Wilson at the president during his joint address to Congress last week.
We, at a minimum, are duty-bound to express our disapproval. And to put him through this on the floor of the House, I think is unacceptable, and it is a partisan stunt.
The resolution is adopted.
Stunt or not, the House voted to formally rebuke Wilson after he was given one last chance to apologize to his colleagues and didn't take it.
For this action today will have done nothing for the taxpayers to rein in the growing cost and size of the federal government.
Congressman Wilson's wife took to the web to defend her husband.
And I said, Joe, who's the nut that hollered out, "You lie," or "You liar"? And he goes, "It was me." And I said, "No, really, who did it?"
The resolution of disapproval is essentially a slap on the wrist. But back in his conservative home district, Wilson is getting pats on the back, along with hundreds of thousands of dollars in new campaign contributions. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And I pointed it out, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, the inappropriate behavior of even the Republicans. I mean, come on, you all but gave the guy a medal for saying that Obama lied. It was inappropriate, and you could see the seriousness that everybody tried to take on it. Oh, man, everybody's back got straight. Hey, you can't talk to the president like that. Nancy Pelosi, she had so much to say about it. And she even tried to twist it into a racial situation. Tried to say the man was racist for calling Obama a liar. Now, let's go ahead and flash forward 8 years later, and the tempo of the conversation, the dialogue between the left and the right has went up another notch. And so we can just take that statement from Michelle Obama and throw it out the window. When they go low, we go high. Oh, no, no, no. When somebody tries to restore civility, y'all take it up another notch. You're the only ones being belligerent. Really now. So we're going to go ahead and play it so you can hear it with your own ears. You be the judge.
People love you, and you win. Woo! And when your son looks at you and says, "Mama, look, you won," bullies don't win. And I said, "Baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there and we're going to impeach them."
Today, the Congresswoman ignored questions about her comments, but she did tweet this morning, "I will always speak truth to power. Hashtag unapologetically me." In an interview with MSNBC, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she doesn't like the language that Tlaib used, but she's not in the censorship business.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, quick and short to the point. On one end, they want to break out some tar and feathers and take Joe Wilson to task. When it comes to Tashida, whatever her name is, when it comes to this woman calling our president an MF hours after swearing in, all Nancy Pelosi can say is, "I'm not in the censorship business." Are you kidding me? How much more of this are we going to take, people? Add into that Facebook, which we're going to be talking about that more today. Add into it Twitter and how they do all their shadow banning. And, man, their censorship is off the chain. If I had a nickel for every time Mr. Zuckerberg, sanctioned me or did some shadow ban on my show, I'd be as rich as he is. So let's just be sober about what's going down, ladies and gentlemen. The inequity of the treatment from the Democrat Party, the leftists, the socialists in our nation has reached points that if you have a pulse, you better start feeling something about this. You better start feeling something very serious about this. Because the bottom line is the Democrat Party did not win the 2016 presidential election. And just because they can gum up the works, we will not surrender control of the nation to them. I'm glad the president has our nation locked down, and he better hold his guns, because it's just time to stop. It's time to stop. You ever been in a conversation with somebody, or even just trying to go somewhere with somebody, and you realize that you're done? You're just done. How much further down the road are you going to go? We already went decades down the road with this. decades. How many presidents have you heard say, we're going to do something about the border? I'm tired of it, man. Aren't you? Our president definitely is tired of it. He is a billionaire captain of industry. He watched this from his golden ivory tower every day, every year, different presidents. And if you go back and look at the old Oprah Winfrey shows and all of that, you'll see what he said. I just wish somebody would get up and lead this country the right way. I don't want to do it. But if I look up and all we got is a bunch of jabronis running us through game, I guess I'm going to have to get up and do it. Well, guess what? We lived long enough to see Donald J. Trump have to become president. You heard me. Have to become president because these jabronis have not been handling their business properly. We vote them in, year out, day, and put all our time and money. Some of you even out there to making phone calls for them, doing donations. I mean, you work in the polls, you're doing all that. And when you stop and look at where we are, what do we get for it? I'm not knocking you for your civil service because guess what? I got my medals and insignias from being a poll worker, poll supervisor, the whole 9 yards. I did it too. I even ran for public office, of which I'll never, ever do again. So I'm not looking at this from a negative push. I'm simply saying, isn't it about time that we got some return on all our sweat equity out there? I'm not talking about the big faces and the big heads. I'm talking about the regular moles just like me. The guys that go to work, the ladies that go to work and do their thing, they make their vote, and they hope for the proper change. That's who I am. That's who you are. And we didn't get nothing from none of them. And you can take all the Bushes. You can even take Bill Clinton, all of them. Obama, especially. And don't give me all this. He deported more people than anybody. People still dying. There still ain't no wall. And the same policies and rules about immigration still exist, upon which they are broken. Okay? So now we got Donald J. Trump up in there. And he has demanded a wall. He has demanded reform to our immigration policy because it's stupid. Donald J. Trump is also the same president who took our embassy and moved it to Jerusalem in honor of Israel. Now does it become a little bit more clear to you why a Palestinian woman disguised as an American politician would be so belligerent to our president within days of becoming sworn in, called him an MF? Don't you know that anger comes from somewhere? It certainly can't come from his presidency. The man is leading. The man has brought us back jobs. Ford was talking about boning out to Mexico. They back. They're back. Why? Because of this man's leadership. So you need to, those of you who want to try to chime in and say, oh, she's only that way because Trump started it. Trump ain't started that. And let's look at the real reason Taisha is mad at our president. Because she's Palestinian. Because Donald J. Trump is down with Israel. Because he's handling those terrorists the way they should have been handled all the time. Netanyahu said it best. He said that if there were no missiles, no bombs in the Palestinian hands, there would be no violence. Now, you're going to show me some type of ethnic stuff, and you're going to argue about, well, the Israelis are doing this to the Palestinians. Look, stop messing with them. Stop talking about death to Israel and death to America. I find it quite interesting, and it ain't haterade, so don't you go there. I find it quite interesting that a culture of people who say death to America, death to Israel, this woman could be in a room full of people and she says, calls our president an MF, and the room erupts in applause? Man, I'm looking for Rod Serling to be around the corner and tell me that was straight a scene out of the Twilight Zone. America, you better stop playing around with this thing, man. You know, I said it on my Facebook post, and a lot of the things you hear on the Southside Unicorn Show, you can find it on my Twitter page or my Facebook page at any given time, so I don't bite my tongue. I said that 9/11 was plan A, and we handled them so hard, we pushed them back so hard on plan A that they came up with plan B. win the midterm elections of 2018 and every election thereon too. Because the California Republicans, the American Republicans, whatever you want to call them, man, y'all off your game. You're disappointing me. Because you see, I've been a Republican all my life. I could never be a Democrat because I grew up in the south side of Chicago and I saw how they get down. You know, we're looking at Elizabeth Warren. She's sitting there talking about I think I'll just drink a beer. And she got a Sambo cookie jar in the back of her backdrop of her house. That thing wasn't just posted there. That's in her house. That's how she gets down. She's got a Sambo cookie jar eating watermelon. All it does is make me laugh because I'm like, I ain't so mad at Elizabeth Warren. She can't help who she is. She is a Democrat, white racist. I knew him from the first day I sat down in Woolworths trying to eat a cheeseburger next to one of them back in 1970. So don't tell me. I know who they are. That's why I never sided with them. My problem is, you brothers out there, you sisters out there, calling yourselves Democrats, licking your chops for a Kamala Harris or something like that to try to come up here and do more of the same. You ain't got no business being around no damn Democrats. And if you listen to Malcolm X, he said it right. He said, hanging out with Democrats, especially white, racist Democrats, that makes you a chump. And you can call me a lot of things, and a lot of you have. You've called me Uncle Tom. You've called me Coonan. Everything you can think of, and I look you right back in your face, and I say one thing to you. I ain't no chump. I'll never vote for a Democrat, ever, because I know who they are. So now, back to you Republicans. The guys, at this point, and I don't say it with any pride, I just say it with a bit of sadness in my heart. Back to you Republicans, the people I have no choice but to side with now. I don't want to really be an independent. That's not really real. And liberals don't even understand who they really are. If liberals understood who they are, then Republicans would be their ally. But liberals allow the left and Democrats to siphon them into their rhetoric, and they remain silent. So I'm not really feeling, quote unquote, the liberal title, independent title. I've been a Republican for over, 35, 40 years now. I may as well ride the train, but I'm still going to talk my opinion. So let's go ahead and get on into the Republicans and what they're about to try to be about here. Look, the title of this show was, California Republicans, U-Haul or not to U-Haul? That is the question. I have watched so many good Californians, Republicans, hardworking business owners, educated, decent, salt of the earth people renting U-Hauls. Seems like every time I look at my Facebook, somebody else is leaving. Somebody else is packed up and got the heck out of here. They call that a leak. That's like having a hole inside of a bottle of oil or a precious bottle of resources. There is a leak. There is a drain occurring in California. So on January 3rd, they had the debate for the chair of the California Republican Party. It was held over at Mill Creek's Cattle Company. It's a steakhouse, if I'm not mistaken, located at 1874 Mentone Boulevard, Mentone, California. That's Mill Creek Cattle Company. The Tea Party and a lot of conservative events occur there. A lot of important meetings occur there, so you might want to lock that into your memory. And so, they had Travis Allen, Steve Frank. David Hadley could not attend because he was previously engaged to go see his son who's serving in the United States military, and thank you for your service. So he wasn't in attendance. But we did have Travis Allen and Steve Frank, and a lot of people were nice enough to live stream the debate. So I was watching it because I couldn't make it there. My job pulled me away, and I couldn't be there. But I still managed to get on my cell phone thanks to some of my friends out there, and we were able to watch the debate. Well, before the debate, Travis Allen was 73.4% in the polling. Steve Frank was 12.6%. And David Hadley was like 1%, 1.3%. Personally, Mr. Hadley, thank you for wanting to participate. But at 1.3%, You would do better to just gift your numbers to Travis Allen. Yes, I said it. I don't bite my tongue. I don't know how to do that, people. Um, Travis Allen is a clear choice. Enough of this skullduggery shenanigans that's going on within the California GOP. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You have tripped us up, messed us up, going in directions that make us look embarrassingly dumb. Okay? There are people out there that like to call us the Washington Generals. That Republicans don't really want to win. They just want to be in the game and make their cheddar. And if that's true, then that means a select few of you are up there collecting dollars at our expense. Because you're calling yourselves Republicans. We're giving you our energy, our time on the phones. We show up at the debates. We're looking for something, man. And you keep bringing us back more of the same. And speaking of which, let me go ahead and drill down into my takeaway from this debate. I still say that Travis Allen should be the chair of the California Republican Party. I mean, haven't we dogged this man enough? You're going to put John Cox up there, this shield, and stole the governorhood from the governorship from Travis Allen. Let's kick the ballistics, okay? If there was no John Cox, if all there was Travis Allen against Gavin Newsom, he would have mollywopped this man. Did you know that Travis Allen was on KFI AM 640? I think it was Thursday night. And he was being interviewed by a good friend of mine, Mo Kelly, on the Mo Kelly Show. Actually, it wasn't the Mo Kelly Show. He was filling in for another show on KFI. But I want to say this much. Travis Allen translated well. He actually crossed over. And I'm not saying that he's a rhino. There's a distinct difference between a rhino and what Travis Allen is. Travis Allen is able to communicate the mission, the ideals, in such a way that even hardcore leftists go, this man might be on to something. You see what I'm saying? And so it translated good. So I go on to Gregory Bertain's site because he was, I believe, the host and the moderator of the debate at the Mill Creek Cattle Company. And I put my 10 cents in there. I chimed in a few thoughts that I had about the event and got some response back from some of the other people on his page, which, that's fine. I started off and thank you, Glenn Stull. Glenn Stull responded back to me and said, check the polls, check the data, look at what's going on, that he's not translating well. Look, polls are for pole dancers, okay? I'm not looking at no poll. I'm not interested in no poll. I'm looking at the fact that this man is real. He's tangible. He's right there. He can do it. And then, Karen Roseberry, she chimed in and she came up with a couple of things saying that because Travis Allen did so well in a mainstream media show, it makes her nervous. That means you don't have a true grasp of what's at stake here and that the Republican Party is absolutely dying. Gregory Britton says in his opening of his own, posting that the decline of the Republican Party in California has been going on for decades. Well, how much longer do you think that's going to last before we're absolutely irrelevant and suffer a political death? I don't like losing, people. That's not who I am. I want to win. And we can win with Travis Allen, okay? Because if not, people are going to be heading up out of here. But the one thing I want to, capsulate on is even with Travis Allen, I was a little disappointed. Because he said in that debate, he said, and I'm trying to quote, so it may be a paraphrase, he said, I don't want anybody to ever say to me again about, different minority factions or this or that. He's trying to be all-inclusive and say you're either a Republican or you're not, and he's not recognizing some of the different issues that affect minorities who are conservative. And that kind of laid me back a little bit, and I'll say it so that he might hear this. Don't be tone deaf on the reality of what it's going to take to recruit minorities into the Republican Party. Don't hit us with that mantra of everybody's all good, and if you care about these issues, then that makes you a Republican. You're right, Travis Allen, but you're also wrong, because We're coming at this thing from a whole different position. And if you cannot see where we're coming from, you're never going to get us. And if you don't get minorities into the Republican Party, especially in California, real soon, 2020 is going to look real interesting. And so you got 18 months or so to start doing some real live, no joke, outreach to minorities in America and in California to get this Republican Party moving in the right direction. And to be honest, moving in the right direction might mean we got to leave some people behind. You know, they call the Republican Party the GOP, the grand old party. Well, that's just it. It's too damn old. It's time to become the GNP, the grand new party. And that means some new thoughts, some new ideas, some new people. Case in point, when I was talking to Karen Roseberry, I said, you know, there's a person out there. Her name is Aja Smith. I have a lot of admiration and respect for her. She should have won her race. On a grassroots level, she got within striking distance of Takano. But where was the California GOP? And Karen Roseberry turns back to me and says, well, the California GOP certainly didn't help those in Orange County. I wasn't talking about Orange County. I wasn't talking about them. Those people laid on their back and gave it up themselves. I'm talking about Aja Smith, who was getting up every day, working it, handling it, pushing it, grinding it, and you didn't lift a finger. So don't deflect. That's the problem. We're not having real conversations in the California GOP. And it's time, ladies and gentlemen, while we still have time. Because in a minute, the clock's going to run out, just like it's running out on this show. And then we're going to be in a world of trouble. Because you already see what these people on the left and the Democrats got in store for us. So you better be careful out there, California GOP. And you got, I guess at this point, you better make up your mind. Do you want to rent a Uhaul, or do you want to roll up your sleeves and get down into this fight and go in for the big win? We'll discuss that more on another show. Now, I just want to bring out Agnes Gibney. She lost her son to an illegal alien, and I know her. And I lost a few loved ones, two people, to illegal aliens on two separate incidents. So, you know, her eye is turned towards immigration issues because the very killer of her son is about to be released from prison. Can you imagine that? Absolutely horrible. And at the minimum, that fool should be kicked out of our country, never to return. So let's get on with Agnes Gibney about that, and let's help her make sure we send that message. Homie don't get to stay once you release him, okay? None of this sanctuary stuff for him. But she did post about the ICE director wanting to arrest politicians who support sanctuary cities where death results. If a death occurs, she's saying she's totally behind that. On her Facebook post, she says, never mind the overcrowding, start now. Start hooking them up, which is true. And Stella Stevens on Agnes Gibney's page, she posted in support saying that, and she cited a law. She says Section 8 of the USC Code, Section 1324. You got to look it up. 8 USC, I don't know how she wrote that. But she's saying there is actually a law on the books that says you're not supposed to aid or abet illegal aliens. If this is a codified state, and California is, then that means they've already broken the law. And that means that it is right for the ICE director to start demanding the prosecution and incarceration of public officials who are making a hellhole out of our state. We cannot have it, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot have it. So that's the Southside Unicorn Show for you today. And I'm Ken White. Look me up on Facebook or Twitter at Ken White 4444. And let's get this thing rolling. Share this tape, spread the word, because this is going to be coming at you almost daily on the reel, okay? So, that's that. Time for a break. You got to do. Time to let this show go. More to come. A lot of people in Facebook. It is going. So, if you want to join in on the conversation, just get on the dial and hit the button and start talking. Start walking. Again, in California, you got to twist it. Or not. That is